Everyone, it's Kelsey here, and I've got a layout to share with you guys today um, using mostly these crepe paper frames. I've had these frames forever and I love them. And I saw a layout the other day. I think it was on the crepe paper blog, but I can't be sure. It was just sitting on in an open tab on my desktop forever. And so I decided, you know what, I'm just going to break out my supplies and just make this layout. So I kind of showed it at the beginning of this video and I will show it again later because that is my main source of inspiration. So I'm using the Crate Paper Notes and Things collection and mostly it's going to be focused on these frames because I love them. I think they're adorable and I've wanted to do a layout like this for a long time. So, yeah, it seemed like the perfect time. So, in the inspiration photo, she had patterned papers backing the chipboard frames, and I really liked the look of this, but I couldn't find a whole lot of papers that I liked because hers were very soft and subtle colors in back of the chipboard. And then it just seemed like the photo or the papers that I had just didn't really match the subtle feeling that she had. But in the end, I do pick a few papers, and I liked them. And I was specifically able to use a couple of papers that were not my favorites that probably wouldn't have gotten used. So even though I had pulled from an older crate paper line, and I had pulled from a 4x6 paper pad from Studio Calico, I did end up going with four different papers from the Notes and Things collection. So I'm just cutting the papers down so they'll fit behind the frames. And I got smarter as I went along. Not a lot, but a little bit. And because you don't have to be perfect. You can just really cut around it very roughly. But um, as, as I got further along in cutting, I realized if you just move your frame a little bit to the left and up, that it just, um, yeah, you don't have to cut as much paper. And yeah. Anyway, I'm not sure that makes sense because I feel like I don't make sense. But as you can tell, I'm just backing the photos or backing the chipboard frames. I call them photos. I don't know why. I guess because it seems like they're like Polaroid frames or something. And then on a couple of the papers, since they were different patterns, I just made sure to get a piece of the paper that I really liked. For instance, I really wanted the envelopes to show on that frame, so I made sure that was there. And on the flowers, I didn't want some of the brighter colors. I wanted some of the more grays and yellows in there. So I was able to achieve that just by kind of manipulating the framer on the paper, seeing what paper looked best. So then I'm going to start gluing things down. Because, like I said, the frames are the most important part of this layout. They're the main focus. So I'm just kind of playing around with those just a little bit, making sure they are where I want them to be. And I referred back to the inspiration quite a bit on this part. So, because I was kind of being picky. I just really liked the way the original person had placed their frames. Um, so I was trying to get the the heights and the overlaps just really specific. And then I've got the chipboard here, and I'm going to try to embellish a few of the chipboard frames, either in the frames or on top of the frames. So I like that little clipboard look, and I like this chipboard piece because it kind of brings that mint back in, and that's kind of a part of the collection. And I'll bring that in more a little bit later because I really like the colors of the frames, the peaches and pinks. And so um, I wanted to mostly stay with the peaches and pinks, but I wanted to bring that mint in a little bit since it was such a big part of the collection. So I also dug out my wood veneer and flare because I haven't played with those in forever. They've kind of gotten pushed off to the side. They're in like a stack of boxes, so I haven't really played with them. And I do love flare. I used to be obsessed with flare, so I don't know why I haven't played with it much lately. And I also toyed with using those buttons because it had some of those like coral or peach colored buttons, but they just didn't really feel right to me for this layout. So I did end up going with a flare. That is one from the Dear Lizzie collection. Polka Dot. No, it's the one before Polka Dot Party. Lucky Charm, maybe. Anyway, I've had it forever, and now I only have one flare badge left from that collection. And so I'm really proud of myself. I'm really trying to use up more of my stash and more packages this year. So, this was definitely a good exercise in that I used some of my chipboard frames, I used some flare, I used some wood veneer, really digging into the stash. Also, I pulled out my enamel dots, which I haven't used in forever. As you can see there, I have a ton of them because I love enamel dots. And I feel like they've kind of, like, they're not as popular as they used to be. So they've gone a little to the wayside, but not completely because you still see new collections of them. But yeah, I just need to use mine more because I really love them. And I think they're the perfect accent. I think ink splatters have come back and they're bigger and better than ever. So I think enamel dots kind of, yeah, I got pushed aside. Anyway, but in the inspiration photo, there was like some kind of enamel dot or button or something on that layered butterfly from crepe paper. So I wanted to make sure and add that little detail, which I really like, just that little enamel button or enamel dot on top of the butterfly. I just think it was perfect. And I did go through my sticker sheet in that sticker book from crepe paper, but I didn't really find what I was looking for. So I decided I had this piece of paper that's like a cut apart sheet. And so I decided to just get a couple of phrases from there. And I made sure to stay in that peach and pink um, color and just picked out a few. And I really didn't do any journaling on this page, which kind of surprises me because this is a page where I felt like I could have done some journaling because it was like a book club. So my friend and I drove down to where my other friend lives and we had a book club and we played a game and had supper. So I felt like I could have journaled quite a lot on this layout, but I actually didn't end up doing anything with it. But I did. I was happy with myself because I used a white background and I always aspire to use a white background, but then I never do. So I'm glad that I finally got a white background that isn't watercolored or um, gelatoed or anything else. It's just a white background, and I really like that clean look. So then, as you can tell, I'm just referring back to the inspiration again and again. Um, I'm going to pull out my enamel dots and just kind of sprinkle a few around. I was very specific about the color choices. It surprises me how many shades of colors there are. And one pink will not be the right shade of pink, or one mint or kind of bluish color will not be the right color. Um, so yeah, I'm kind of picky. But I really, really like the way this came together. I'm just going to kind of stamp a phrase from this roller stamp here, and then I'm going to put on the title, which I end up using a Maggie Holmes um, thicker, one of those gorgeous gold thickers that I'm obsessed with. And I'm going to put that in the top left hand corner. And they didn't have one that says friends, which obviously there's multiple people in this. So I ended up cutting the S off another letter or another word and just kind of squishing that on there, and it worked perfectly. So that is all from me today. If you want to see a photo, head on over to my blog. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I'll see you again soon.